Now let's talk about the latest security challenge in India's neighborhood, Afghanistan with the resurgent Taliban. Powering them is the drug trade, a trade that they're carrying out via India. Let me start from the beginning. From 1996 to 2001, the Taliban ran the drug scene in Afghanistan. Think of it as narcos, but on steroids. Their golden goose was the poppy plant. They extracted heroin from it and shipped it all over the world. America tried to strangle this trade with another war on drugs. But much like their military operation, this war too was half-baked. The Taliban continued exporting heroin, this time behind the shadows. Cut to 2021, the Americans have left, and the Taliban don't need the shadows anymore. The Taliban is reviving the old drug routes, and many of them go through India. Let me explain how this works. In the last couple of weeks, Indian officials have nabbed multiple drug mules at airports. They were all carrying high-quality heroin. And this is a trademark of the Taliban, laughable but true, a terror group that does not compromise on contraband quality. What are the officials saying? These mules were possibly headed for the West, to the US and Europe, also Australia. Drug traders always take long, confusing routes. They do so to throw governments off their scent. The Taliban is doing the same. Their first stop is Pakistan's southwest coast. From here, small boats take the consignment to Mozambique. These are tiny vessels, impossible to detect with satellite imagery. From Mozambique, it is taken by road to Johannesburg. That's half the journey completed. From South Africa, the heroin heads to India, in most cases with a stopover at Doha. India is the final stop before dumping these drugs in the West. The Taliban's job is to supply the heroin. Once it leaves the Pakistani coast, the African cartels take over. How many of these drug mules have been caught? Well, we don't have a number so far, but officials have given details of a few cases. Like on July 19th, just 3 days back, a Zambian national was arrested at the Hyderabad airport in India. More than 3 kilograms of heroin was seized from this person. That's worth around $2 million US. Here's another case. This one is from the 22nd of June. The same airport, a Tanzanian male was nabbed with 3 kilograms of heroin. Guess where he was flying from? Johannesburg via Doha. Now, most of these consignments are well concealed. The heroin is mixed with talc and lactose, so normal scanners cannot pick them up easily. Then how are these mules being identified? Mostly through profiling. If they're flying from Johannesburg, that's a possible red flag. If they flew via Doha, that's another red flag. Frankly, none of this is surprising. It's a repeat of what happened in 1996, the return of the drug trade, the conservative diktats, and now reports of forced recruitment too. These reports are coming from the Balkh province in northern Afghanistan. The government says it is under their control. But there are pockets of Taliban influence. The province is under the control of the government, but the Taliban has pockets of influence. And inside these pockets, it is a rogue regime, forced recruitment, illegal tax collection, and punishment without trial. The Taliban is already showing winners' arrogance. But has it won the battle yet? Not quite. Inside Afghanistan, the army is still fighting. At the border, neighbors are mobilizing. Tajikistan, for instance, conducted the largest military drill in its history. 100,000 active soldiers, plus 130,000 reserve fighters. There were tanks, helicopters, artillery guns. The president of Tajikistan had one piece of advice for his countrymen: be vigilant, he said. That seems to be the sentiment globally, in fact, not just Tajikistan. On Wednesday, America's top general conceded that the Taliban has what he called strategic momentum in Afghanistan. Listen in.
And roughly speaking, order of magnitude, a significant amount of territory has been seized over the course of 6, 8, 10 months sort of thing by the Taliban. So momentum appears to be, strategic momentum appears to be sort of with the Taliban.
What does he mean by strategic momentum? Basically, the Taliban is on a winning spree. And who unleashed that spree? Well, the Americans themselves. But the general did make a few important points here, like how the Taliban is dominating the airwaves. For example, they claim control over 80% of Afghan territory. What does the Pentagon say? Under 50%. None of the provincial capitals have fallen yet. The Taliban is nowhere near Kabul. So the Americans say the war is far from over.
In the hands of the Afghan people. And there are a range of possible outcomes in Afghanistan. And I want to emphasize repeatedly, and I've said this before, a negative outcome, a Taliban automatic military takeover, is not a foregone conclusion.
How gracious of them. America marched into Afghanistan, destabilized the country, bolted at night, and now they say it's squarely in the hands of the Afghan people. Unfortunately, he's right. The Taliban is definitely on the charge. They have the momentum. They are terrorists with nothing to lose. But the Afghan government has one advantage. It's an old military adage. They have a castle to defend. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.